reconstructing the country proved daunting. The U.S. government denied that secession was legal. Therefore, it had not occurred. The Confederate States were illegitimate and little more than an attempt at a military coup d'etat. During the war, Union troops occupied many southern state capitals, including Nashville, Baton Rouge, and Little Rock. With the Confederates driven out, the military governed. There was irony in this. President Abraham Lincoln's plan called for vanquished Confederate states that had never legally left the Union to be readmitted if a tenth of their population would take an oath of loyalty to the United States, and then rewrite their state constitutions and form a new government. Slavery and secession would be clearly illegal. His successor, Andrew Johnson of Tennessee, continued with the slain president's approach. He even expanded it to include offering amnesty and pardons toward many former rebels and the restoration of their confiscated lands and holdings. All the expenses of the Confederacy were illegitimate and would never get paid. Johnson also granted Southern states a great deal of freedom in rewriting their state constitutions if they outlawed secession and slavery. Radicals in Congress were furious. They wanted anyone that had ever aided the Confederacy, from office holders to soldiers, to be banned from public life. Only those that could take what became known as the ironclad oath could reconstruct the nation. Southerners had to swear that they had never been involved in any way with the uprising. In today's dollars, the amount of wealth wrapped up in slaves, human property, amounted to more than $21 trillion. This would never be recovered. The South, these lawmakers argued, needed to be punished and suppressed. President Johnson refused to be intimidated and ordered Reconstruction to proceed as he had planned. In September 1865, the Freedmen's Bureau set up offices in Texas in hopes of easing racial tensions there. Since Texas was never successfully invaded during the war, Reconstruction came late. The provisional military governor of Texas was Brigadier General Andrew Jackson Hamilton, a Texas Unionist. He arrived in Texas and convened the state constitutional convention. Delegates had to take a simple oath of loyalty to the United States, far easier than the ironclad oath. After these delegates reorganized the Texas government, they also elected officials to serve in the U.S. Congress. By 1866, Texas had accomplished all of these chores. James W. Throckmorton, who had started as an ally of Sam Houston but later served in the Confederate Army, became governor. Judge Orrin M. Roberts, who had led the secession convention and had fought in Louisiana, became a U.S. Senator. One of the founders of Texas, David G. Burnett, also went to the U.S. Senate. His son, Colonel William Burnett, died in combat in the very last days of the war. 30 years had passed since the days of the Texas Revolution. Burnett had lived among the Comanches as a young man, had been an adventurer in South America, and when he was 48 years old, had served amid the turmoil and passion of war and independence. Now he was 78, and Texas needed him again. This mix of old and new thinkers represented the state in Congress. But back home, some things did not change. The new Texas government passed a series of laws called Black Codes. African Americans had basic rights, but faced limits to their liberty. They were Americans, just not fully. The shadow of the Old South remained over Texas.